I just called me a butthole. Hey, me, I'm a butthole. The two of us are two buttholes. That's stereo buttholes.
Okay.
Remember them? They used to open for, I think, the motels, the stereo buttholes. Here's the hotel telling me to stop cussing. Penis, 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 penis.
I don't even know where to go now.
This guy's leaving too. I'm sorry. Oh, sure, wave sarcastically as you
You're just
run.
chasing him out now.
I'm sorry. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to sign this damn thing. You and I are going to go online with it, and we'll be retired.
I'm in.
It's by the desk.
This is when I first met the legendary George Lowe back in 2017. My friends and I used to produce a live talk show with our version of The Ghost Host with the Most. Obviously, we were inspired by George and his work for Cartoon Network, but never in my wildest dreams did I think we'd get Mr. Lowe to appear at our event. So, when George Lowe offers to sign a piece of furniture, well, there's really only one option.
That's what you ought to do is give the money to charity. Sell the desk. Thank you. There we go.
Sign my desk.
There we go. Greetings, citizen. Now, if I can get the Clydesdale over here to quit clip-clapping around, I might be able to sign it in a straight line. You and your size 84 kids.
Just to set the record straight, those are actually size 13 Chucks.
By the way, folks, safety tip, if you ever go to a show with Lou Ferrigno, for God's sake, don't go in the bathroom after him. Those damn things pop out green flexing and mad. I swear to God, I had to slam the lid down. They were trying to make a break for it.
George!
What?
How many times have I told you,
What's
get the
mine?
hell out of my chair?
It's my desk. My desk, you turd. What do you do? Okay, all right. I'll go. Oh, feedback.
Go.
Hey, Jimi Hendrix. Sorry. What am I supposed to be on? What was this, like Merv Griffin? I sit 50 feet away on a couch? Ooh, that's Kay. Wait a minute. I hope this isn't the green room couch. We've all heard about that. Anybody got a black light? Looked like Jackson Pollock had an accident.
Both George and Space Ghost Desk became reoccurring elements of our production moving forward. Since our convention was kind of a family affair, Space Ghost Live became an evening event catering to an older, more mature audience. Well, maybe mature might not be the most appropriate term.
That's all I got.
Sure, George's brand of humor often had us on edge. You never knew what was going to come out of the man's mouth. I can remember being especially worried when we had the late, great Cindy Morgan on our show. And I know Cindy had already been used to coarse humor, having worked with men like Chevy Chase, but she was just so polite and proper. Despite some off-color remarks from George, she did offer to sign Space Ghost Desk, which became customary for our guests moving forward.
Nice meeting you, Space Ghost. Thank you so very much for having me.
Sydney Morgan, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up.
To Space Ghost and George.
Hi, welcome to the show. Thanks for just wandering in whenever the hell you feel like it. We won't single you out or anything. But you had to go to the bathroom. Not an excuse, sir. And we prefer up here, we keep it more polite. We say go down bubble 5 degrees and launch countermeasures. How about you? You doing anything
I just
fun?
have to sit here and look pretty, and I just let him
It's
go.
once a year we do it. It's fun. We had fun with Cindy Morgan. Did she sign the desk?
Yes.
Where's
She signed-
Cindy?
She signed it up here on
She signed it up there.
Yeah.
Troublemaker.
She refused to get down on her
See, you can
knees.
never put your beverage in the same spot thanks to Cindy Morgan.
George also had an interesting habit of taking the microphone and placing it excessively close to his mouth, often resting it right on his chin, something my friend Tim Kitzrow poked fun at in 2021. Boom shakalaka.
Is this his self-sterilizing microphone?
So,
Okay, George was eating this son of a
actually,
bitch.
all the years that I've had you on the show, the one question I've always wanted to ask, which has never gotten out, exactly how did you get your start? With everything that you've done, how did you start in this business? What was your first job?
I knew I was dead meat when I saw American Graffiti. because of Wolfman
American
Jack.
Graffiti.
Yeah.
All right, that was
Yeah,
the old
I knew
George
I was
Lucas film.
dead meat that minute. I just thought that's the coolest thing in the world. And it was not much longer after Lucas released that, we ended up in a little town in Central Florida called Brooksville. That's where I started in radio. 1,000 watts in the day, 250 at night. But I was like the popular kid because I got the radio job. I walked in up a flight of stairs above the feed store. I swear, you can't make it up. Walked in, the room was blue with cigarette smoke. And everybody in there, a bunch of old fat guys wearing, I should talk now, wearing white belts, white shoes, and just puffing the Pall Malls as fast as they could get them in their lungs. And I walked in and I said, what you got to do to get a shift around here? The guy said, well, what qualifies you? And I said, well, your weekend guy sucks, so anything should. And they loved that. And they were like, give that kid a tryout, Phil. And I stuck around for 5.5 years with them. It was great.
Oh, awesome.
Did fake commercials. I had been exposed to Firesign Theater by then, who I loved. Started cramming in fake commercials on the air.
Brought to you by Pirates Lube. Get your vessel through the channel quicker with Pirates Lube, now in pillaging size.
Mrs. Glutener's placenta chips. The church says it's wrong. Your taste buds say it's right. Brought to you by Tongue Brothers Ball Game Wieners. They plump when you touch them. My Wang, Szechuan restaurant. Looking for something to eat? Look for My Wang. This portion of Space Ghost making everybody sick, brought to you by Mrs. Gray's Panty Shield flavored luncheon meats.
And by Panty Puddin'. Pour dry mix in airtight sandy pants and go for a stroll. In just 30 minutes, you've got savory Panty Puddin'. Now in tapioca. I'm sorry, should I leave now?
Having watched Space Ghost coast to coast excessively, George Lowe became the voice of my adolescence, and maybe yours too. Every episode was insane and often nonsensical. Still, we couldn't get enough. George had such a spontaneous sense of humor, it always left us wondering what he might say next.
Hello, I am Space Ghost. Welcome to my show.
And what special powers do you have, if any?
I can become invisible, I can fly, and I bake one heck of an apple brown Betty.
And Space Ghost.
We're enjoying a laugh now,
Yes,
aren't
we
Bruce?
are.
Well, what character would you be best known for?
Hazel from that show, you know, where they have the maid and the kid
Hazel?
who has
So
adventures.
you did the voice for Hazel.
Yeah, the voice for Hazel.
So
I
yes,
was known
remember
for
that.
years as
That's-
Shirley Booth's looping actor.
Oh,
That's oh, Mr. B, I can't make a roast tonight. I've got an infection. Oh.
well, it's just like you're there.
It was a very popular show, Hazel.
What other characters are
Well, you
are
handsome devil, I'll just go ahead and spill the beans. We had 112 episodes of a little thing called Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Space Ghost Coast
Yeah.
to Coast?
Oh, I see you've heard of it. The writers were awesome. They were insane. And I think the turning point, you may get a different story from somebody else. The turning point for us as far as using ad libs, we ran at a tape with Branford Marsalis. And so we're just kind of chit-chatting on the phone. He was in New York, I was in Atlanta. And Branford's like, so we're completely out of tape, mind you. They're having to rack. This is the days of the old giant reels. And he's like, yo, Space Ghost, what you listening to? And I said, and I could not have sounded like a less knowledgeable person about the world of jazz. What do some of the beat performers say now? I think I could not have sounded any more like a white boy. And Branford's on the phone very generously going, so what are you listening to, Space Ghost? I'm like, oh, I just got Miles Davis at the Wooden Nickel. And he was just convulsing. Branford's on the phone laughing his butt off. And he's like, come on, Space Ghost, you don't know no Miles Davis. So I go, and pardon my lack of a voice, but I just hit it, and it's like, he starts singing the chorus part. Again. Then we get, Lazo starts screaming in the back. But oh my God, we had a ball. And I think, I may be wrong, to my knowledge, that was the second ad libs got pulled in.
Okay.
Yeah. I ended a session, it was just sitting in the booth going. Andy's like had to run 16 miles to get to the booth that I was in. It's crazy. You would think right across from each other at the studio, you have to go down like 6 halls to get over to the voiceover booth. Andy came in and started doing all that. Oh, baby, I got you, baby.
I got you, baby. I get you, baby.
One of the more embarrassing moments, but I don't get embarrassed really. I just cherish each one of them and keep them as obnoxious what not to do stories.
It just gives them fodder to feed you guys on the show.
Leo Burnett has had the Heinz account for I don't know how many years. I think since they first manufactured ketchup. But they called me in once, wanted me to do a commercial for Heinz, really funny spot, and it was a bunch of young producers, and these are the moments that you cherish going forward in your career. First at bat for Publix, the young producers say, hey, it's great to have Space Ghost here. How would Space Ghost sell Heinz? And I said, hey, kids, slap this on your wieners. Yeah, we have our embarrassing moments. And then Hardee's didn't trust me. Hardee's, they got the Space Ghost toy now in your lunch. Has anybody got those? Did you get it? Yeah. And I thought, would it have killed him to call me and let me do a quick part of the commercial? You'll hold up the toy and go, hey, kids, I come in your food. What? What, is that so wrong?
I don't mind saying that Space Ghost Live was probably one of the most unique ways I've ever volunteered my time. And even though I never made a dime off the show, I'll always cherish the time I spent with my friends trying to steer a production that guest starred George Lowe.
We know a farm in Lancashire, Pennsylvania. Every July, peas grow under the snow in Mrs. Buckner's backyard. That's a lovely sentence, and then you go and muck it up with this crumb crisp coating. Take out crumb crisp coating, Orson. Good. You have no idea what I'm up against in here. You people don't know.
What the hell were we thinking? There's an old adage that you should never meet your heroes. And honestly, George could get a little grumpy during a 3-day event. But most of the time, if you threw him a Snickers bar or a foot-long hoagie filled with Mrs. Gray's Panty Shield-flavored luncheon meat, he'd be the same Tad Ghostal we all remember from television.
Well, Space Ghost, we don't want to keep you from your mission.
Not at all. I can stay another hour.
Thanks for stopping by Caspan.
It was a pleasure to be here on Caspan, and thank you for having me.
Watching him step on the stage was like watching a Formula One car accelerate from 0 to 100 miles an hour. And sure, there was always the risk of crashing hard, but what a wild ride. By the way, signing the desk wasn't the only reoccurring element of Space Ghost Live. Every year, like clockwork, George would break out the dreaded 6-second joke.
Boy, I'm old and tired. I don't know if I can do it. I got to do it in 6 seconds. Somebody's got the time on it? Somebody? Okay, lady at the back.
Somebody in the back there.
Is that a lady? I'm blind as a bat. Here we go. Guy goes to the doctor. The doctor says, you got to stop masturbating. The guy says, why? Doctor says, so I can examine you.
Guy goes to the doctor. The doctor says, you got to stop masturbating. The guy says, why? The doctor says, so I can examine you. Guy goes to the doctor. The doctor says, you got to stop masturbating. The guy says, why? The doctor says, so I can examine you.
Where'd we end up? 5'8"? 5'8", ladies and gentlemen.
Anyway, thank you guys as always.
Give it up for George Lowe.
I'm sorry I wasn't more fun. See you, buddy. Bring on these here. Should I turn this off, or I'll just walk out with it? That's even more fun. Now we have to pray I don't fall down the damn stairs. He's
George Lowe,
120 years old.
George Lowe definitely had a unique life, having started his career on radio, eventually finding himself on television, and becoming the voice of Space Ghost. He lived to be 67 years young, and while Mr. Lowe's passing left us all heartbroken, it's up to each of us to remember all of the laughs he gave us. Godspeed, Space Ghost.
Hey, wait a minute. Is this live? Hey,
George
kids.
isn't gone yet.
How's it going? Hey, how you doing?
Do I have to push a button, or is that your
Hey.
job?
George is, yes. Okay. Is he gone yet?
He's working his way out the door.
Bye, George.
And going, gone.